Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this lightning slot today. My name is Lucía, and I work as a consultant software engineer, which at my company basically means that I get to fulfill many different roles at many different clients on very diverse fields, which I very much like because I like learning about almost anything, trying out new things, etc. So in my career so far, I started out as a .NET developer. As of lately, I've been a Java developer. Really sorry for that. I've also worked as a data scientist at several projects, sort of data scientist, machine learning engineer. Currently in a platform team. So yeah, you get it. And this also translates very well to my personal life, because I'm what some people call a serial hobbyist. So since I was 12 years old, I've been a bass guitar player, a short film director, a photographer, a drummer, and as of late, a DJ. But this has actually made me feel this kind of guilt feeling sometimes, because some of my most knowledgeable and smartest colleagues, they spend much of their free time, maybe coding their pet projects, or maybe reading books about, software architecture, reading blog posts about development and everything. And I don't do that as much or like as often as them. So sometimes I fear maybe like falling a bit behind because of that. But do you know this feeling when you're stuck trying to solve a bug in your code? You're there for hours, you're getting really frustrated, and then at the end you're like, pardon my French, fuck it, I'm just gonna leave for a bit, go for a walk, and then you come back and you look at the screen and the solution is suddenly there. And it also tends to be a really silly error, but we can, of course, ignore that, not tell anybody. Well, I recently discovered that, according to research, taking breaks allows our brain to relax and recharge, let's say, and this increases productivity and creativity significantly. Even taking a 5-minute break can help restore our attention and focus. On another note, it was also well proven that individuals with broad interests and broad knowledge are more likely to generate innovative solutions in the workplace or in general. And this is especially true if these broad interests include creative activities, because actually the part of the brain that is activated when we indulge in creative activities is the same part that's in charge of planning, decision-making, problem-solving, which is the prefrontal cortex. And this was very interesting to me to find out because lately, especially in the past year, I've started noticing certain improvements in my way of working that even my teammates told me about it. And after sort of analyzing them and trying to find patterns, I realized that some of them are actually lessons I learned while DJing. So today I would like to share with you some of these lessons. The first one is what I like to call deploying your DJ set on new infrastructure. So let's say that you started learning how to DJ recently, and you've practiced it at home on your tiny DJ controller with your laptop and everything, and you're ready to play your first live gig. So you go to the venue, and the venue has this equipment. So this was actually the equipment jump I did for my first gig. So this was the controller I bought, and this is what they had at the bar. Of course, I'm a bit of, a perfectionist. I would say all of us software developers tend to think a lot about risks in general. So I did watch a lot of walkthroughs and tutorials about this specific mixer and these specific players. I even rented a studio for an hour to familiarize myself with it. So I thought I was as ready as I could get. So I arrived to the bar, managed to play my first song with very shaky hands, and then I was ready to make my first DJ transition, and I loaded my second song. And then I realized that, I don't know, can I use the laser? Yeah, I realized that this button here wasn't working. So what that button does, are there any DJs in the room? Okay, nice. Okay, let's connect after the session. So that button wasn't working, and this button, what it does is it lets you hear on your headphones what's coming out of the master channel, so what's coming out of the speakers in the room. So then I thought, okay, I'll just try to match my next song with what's coming out of the speakers without listening to it on the headphones. But then I realized because the acoustics in bars don't tend to be the best, so there was actually a delay from like the DJ booth and what was coming out of the speakers, like a half a second delay. But then, of course, it meant that my mix was completely messed up. So after panicking for what felt like a few hours, but it was probably a few seconds, I realized, okay, I can, instead of that, I can cue, so like the same orange buttons, but in the middle. I can cue both channels on my headphones, so I can do exactly the same. It's just, it's not the best because you cannot compare the volumes that well, but at least I could mix. So this kind of thing has really helped me, like ingrained in me the distrust in the "it works on my machine" mantra, because my machine is for sure going to be very different from the production machine at the venue. And even when you are familiar with the production machine, let's say, it might not work according to specs. Like there's a very high chance that something is broken because, well, these equipments are, I think this is like 14,000 euros, and this from like, it was released 12 years ago. So it's really expensive equipment, so venues don't change it that much. So yeah, it tends to be a bit broken. The next learning was about tackling last-minute requirements from non-technical stakeholders. So I once had this girl come to me on the DJ booth, and she asked me if I could play a certain song. This happens a lot, but in this case, she was asking me to play like a song which was like at 95 beats per minute, so think of like pretty slow R&B, reggaeton kind of thing. And I was playing at 130 beats per minute, which is more like fast house, EDM kind of stuff. So I told her, look, like I cannot really mix it now because like the tempo difference is really big. It's not gonna fit. But she was super stubborn. She was like, no, it's gonna fit, like trust me, like people are gonna love it, you have to play it. And she came like 2 or 3 times to tell me this. So in the end, what I did was tell her, okay, like, is it fine if I play a song by the same artist, but a different song? And she was okay with that. So I played a song by the same artist, but at like 128 beats per minute. And then, yeah, she and her friends were super happy and dancing and singing, and everyone loved it. So in the end, it worked out. So DJing has helped me, improve my maybe communication skills and even persuasiveness when dealing with end users and stakeholders, particularly if they are non-technical. And the next one is about debugging production systems in real time. So I was once preparing for this gig, and I thought about this transition that I thought it was really cool, so I really wanted to play it at this party. So I was at the party, and then I was playing the first song, so I was like, okay, I'm ready to transition. So I loaded the second song, and the screen said this. So I knew about this error. I had seen it before. It tends to happen to me because I use a format, it's called FLAC, so an audio format that I like because it gives you almost like lossless compression, but with half the size of a WAV file. So it's like a pretty nice trade-off. But I know that older equipment doesn't support it. So I always inform myself, okay, like which equipment they have at the venue so that I know what songs I can play and which ones maybe I have to convert before the gig. But in this case, I had wrongly assumed that the equipment would support it because it was a newer equipment. But I didn't know that, well, Pioneer, which is the DJ equipment standard, they, like for newer models, if they are the low-budget version, they block the support of certain audio files so that they make you pay for the more expensive ones. So yeah, basically, this meant that I was playing like almost 4-hour gig where half of my music library didn't load. But of course, I couldn't be like, I cannot play in these conditions. I just leave. Or I couldn't just like take my laptop out and start converting files. Of course, like the party was already going on. So this kind of thing has also gotten me used to or like more confident with well, debugging production systems in real time without the end users noticing, right? Like in the end, I had to work around it. So these are more like I wouldn't say like technical learnings, but yeah, more related to the software developer role itself. But I've also had other learnings more in terms of general soft skills. So one has been, well, I know it's very cliche, but it has been that mistakes are not that big of a deal. Of course, if we delete, like the production database and all the backups, that's a big deal. But in general, mistakes are okay. And at the beginning, when I started playing live, I would start panicking or like get really nervous if I messed up the transition or I didn't do it as I had planned. And then I realized, okay, when I asked people in the crowd, no one noticed anything. Like even sometimes the other DJs don't notice it, And even when it's like a really, really big mistake, like we had to like completely shut down the equipment to change some cables and then restart it. And trust me, DJ hardware is not the fastest equipment at all. And even in this case, like we didn't have music for like 30 seconds. And people thought that it was on purpose, that it was like a gimmick to make them, continue singing the song out loud. So really, like mistakes, especially in DJing, but in general, they are less of a deal than we think they are. And another one has been that DJing has really improved my confidence when putting myself on a stage or in the spotlight. So this is, well, probably the lowest quality picture you will see today, so I'm really sorry for that. But I really like it because I think this was actually the very first time that I felt truly comfortable on the DJ booth. Like, I was really, like smiling and dancing and singing and still doing a pretty good mix, I think. And this year, actually, well, this picture is from last year. And this year, or like end of last year, has been the very first time that I started submitting sessions to conferences, because it's the first time that of course, we will always feel nervous before speaking in public, or we'll always have this imposter syndrome. But DJ, in this case, it made me realize, that even with the nerves and everything, we will always survive something like this. And the feeling of a crowd enjoying our session, be it a DJ session or a conference session, is really worth all the nerves and all the preparation. So I hope you did enjoy this session. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask them now, or you can just hit me up on the conference, on LinkedIn, and also maybe on Instagram if you want to follow my DJing adventures. Thank you very much.